Hello everyone, once again this is grade 4 Chapter History and we'll do revision of important concepts in Unit 2, Lesson 1, The Rise of Islam in the Arabian Peninsula. Our objectives are, first, summarize important points during the rise of Islam in the Arabian Gulf and revise important concepts. Now you can refer to page 35 of your book so you can go to the key points that you have to remember about Unit 2, Lesson 1. First is that during the pre-Islamic period or before Islam came about in the Arabian Peninsula, people were ignorant of all political, economic, social, and religious aspects, meaning they lacked knowledge or they lacked enlightenment. Second, the call to Islam was spread in Mecca through two phases or two stages. The first is the Prophet, peace be upon him, spread the message of Islam secretly, beginning with relatives and family members. And second, Islam was spread openly, wherein he tried to invite non-believers for 10 years. Number 3, the Prophet, peace be upon him, invited his friends to migrate to Habasha in the 5th year of the mission because of the harm of Quraysh leaders and because Habasha's king was a fair man. Fourth, we had the first Ahaba or Pledge of Loyalty that happened in the 12th year of the Islamic message. During the first Pledge of Loyalty, Al-Awaz and Al-Khazraj tribes promised the Prophet that they would be defending the beliefs of Islam or the tenets of Islam, and at the same time they asked Musab bin Umair to teach them how to read and interpret the Holy Quran. And during the second Aqaba or Pledge of Loyalty, 13th year of the Islamic message, they promised to defend the Prophet the way that they would defend their family members, and at the same time they provided the Prophet with a safe place or a sanctuary for him to continue spreading the message of Islam. Sixth, the Prophet and his followers migrated to Yathrib because of the harassment by non-believers. So if you would recall, it even got worse when they learned about the pledge or the first and the second Aqaba. Number 7, the Islamic State was established in Al-Madinah Al-Munawwara, which was the new name for Yathrib after migration of the Prophet, peace be upon him, to it. 8, the first thing done by the Prophet was to build the mosque, which was called the Mosque of Al-Quba. And it was the center for the Islamic State and a place where the Muslims were taught the principles of their religion. And also it became a center for education. Number 9, the Prophet, peace be upon him, put an end to the conflict between the two tribes, Al-Awas and Al-Khazraj, and called them Al-Ansar. Or he established brotherhood between these two conflicting tribes. Number 10, the brotherhood between immigrants and Al-Ansar was a very good example of love that Islam taught. And last, 11, the Prophet, peace be upon him, set up a system specifying the rights and duties of Muslims as well as their relation with non-believers. So now that you know the key points, be ready to answer the formative assessment in the succeeding pages of your book. So listen well to this lesson recording so that you may get an idea about the answers in the formative assessment, and you can use this as a revision material. Now let's proceed to exercises. So feel free to pause the video anytime so that you can refer to the previous pages that we have discussed. First, complete the following sentences. Letter A, Islamic da'wah spread in Makkah al-Mukarramah in two phases, which were the secret call and the open call to Islam. Letter B, second Aqaba, Pledge of Loyalty, was in year 13 of the Islamic message. Letter C, Musab bin Umair contributed in spreading Islam and he was known as the first ambassador for Islam. And letter D, Muslims migrated to Habasha in the 5th year of the mission. Number 2, tick true or false, then write the false statements correctly on the blanks. Letter A, the Prophet permitted his followers to secretly migrate to Yathrib after oppression from disbelievers intensified. The answer is true. Letter B, oppression by the disbelievers of Quraysh tribe towards Muslims in Makkah increased after the Pledge of Allegiance of Al-Ahaba. The answer is true. Letter C, leaders of Quraysh tribe accepted the Prophet's invitation. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, with welcome and appreciation. The answer is false. So you have to rewrite the sentence by saying leaders of Quraysh tribe did not accept the Prophet's invitation with welcome and appreciation. In fact, they persecuted the early believers of Islam. Number 3, explain. A. Explain the refusal of Quraysh leaders for Prophet's call to Islam. Why is it that they did not want to be part of Islam? They did not want to support the Prophet in spreading the message of Islam to people. It was because the Quraysh leaders, they wanted to keep their positions in the Arabian Peninsula. At the same time, idolatry has been part of their culture. It has been a tradition for them. And the gods that they worshipped were worshipped also by their ancestors or the people who came before them. So they were not ready to give up on these practices, which were not right, and they did not accept Islam in the process. Letter B, explain the Prophet's permission, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, to his followers to migrate to Yathrib. Why do you think that the early Muslims migrate to Yathrib during that time? So the answer would be, it was because the non-believers or the Quraysh tribe, they even persecuted these people more. So the persecution intensified. They were even harsher to the Muslims, especially when they learned about the pledge of loyalty that was done in Yathrib. 4. Complete the following sentences using suitable words. Letter A. The first thing done by the Prophet after migration to Al-Madinah Al-Munawwara was it issuing the document, brotherhood between immigrants and Al-Ansar, or building the mosque? The answer is building the mosque. And also that mosque served as an educational center for Muslims and a place for them to learn about Islam and the manners of the Prophet. Letter B, Al-Sahifa, which was made by the Prophet, specified the relation between Muslims and, is it Christians, Al-Awas and Al-Khazraj, Jews, or Quraysh? The answer is Jews. Letter C, the Prophet, peace be upon him, defined the rights and duties of Muslims through, is it the mosque, brotherhood, or the document? So the answer is, rights and duties of Muslims were defined through the document. Number 5, link between column A and column B. So let's try and find the connections amongst these different concepts. So in column A, we have the Al-Ansar, non-Muslims who lived in Yathrib, educational center for Muslims, and what the document called for. And in column B, we have the Jews, Al-Muwadaha, Al-Awas, and Al-Khazraj, and the mosque. So let's begin with the first, who were referred to as the Al-Ansar. So the answer would be the tribes of Al-Awas and Al-Khazraj, who were made to become brothers by the Prophet, peace be upon him, when they pledged their loyalty to Islam. Second, who were the non-Muslims who lived in Yathrib? So the answer would be the Jews. And the Prophet made them promise to also defend Al-Madinah Al-Munawwara from enemies. Third, what was the educational center for Muslims? Answer would be the mosque. So this was also a place where they had to learn about the tenets of Islam and the ways of the Prophet. Last, what did the document call for? So the document called for Al-Muwadaha, or the agreement, which outlines the rights and duties of Muslims and also all the residents or the immigrants of Al-Madinah. So continue reading Qatar History Citizenship Grade 4 book for more information about this topic. I will see you in the next video.